Okay, we're rolling.
Welcome to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing well. I'm just doing a short one today because, we're doing a daily episode in the year of 2026. So there's like over 365 episodes coming your way. So a short one today. I promise I won't keep you long. I want to explain to you the type of guest that I typically don't have on my podcast. And this is a personal decision. You don't have to follow my lead on this one at all. But I'm explaining to you why I don't have this type of person on my show as a guest, and why I don't even respond to the emails, because I get them a lot. And a lot of the times the emails are coming to me from PR agents and professionals who apparently are getting paid a lot of money from potential guests to get them on shows. And these people who are making a lot of money from these potential guests are not doing their homework. So there's one type of guest that I don't want to deal with, and I shy away from. It might even be you. So just, and I'll give you the reasons why, but here's my thoughts. One of the main things that I try to do on all my different shows, because I have 9 different podcasts that I host. Yeah, I said 9. I have 9 different shows. And what I typically do is I try to find the people that I want to talk to. Again, this is my show, right? This isn't someone else's show, and I'm the host of it. This is my show. It belongs to me, and I want to build what I want to build, and I want to talk to who I want to talk to. So it's kind of my decision at the end of the day who I share you, my amazing listening audience, with, and I want to protect what we're trying to build here. I want to bring in voices that are counter to what we're trying to do. I don't want to bring in negativity. There's a lot of podcast gurus who reach out to me about coming on the show, but what they talk about and how they show up online, nope, not at all. And that's my choice. And I want you to, as a podcaster who is an interview-based podcast, to understand the power that you have. This is your show. You can pick and choose who comes on your show. You can pick and choose who you interview. You can pick and choose what episodes you release. Just because you recorded an episode with somebody, if you at the end of the process, after they're gone and you're doing the edits, you're like, this is not right. This is not what I wanted. This is your show. You can decide who gets to get in front of your amazing audience. That's the trust your audience has given you. People will show up no matter who you have on your show because they trust you as the host. So keeping that in mind, there's one type of podcast guest that I steer away from probably 99.9% of the time. Unless it comes from somebody I really know and a trusted resource, I'm going to say no to these almost every time. So Dave, who is it? Like who is not, well, if you've been here for a while, you're going to notice that maybe this is more prevalent and easy to identify as you kind of go through the back episodes of the podcast. But I avoid anyone who's on a podcast tour. Yeah. A podcast tour. What's a podcast tour, Dave? A podcast tour is when somebody has a product, a service, a coaching thing, a book, whatever, something that's coming out and they're trying to get on as many podcasts as possible. There was one guy that came on my show to talk about podcasts, like to be on a guest on this show. And all he was trying to do was get on 100 podcasts. It didn't matter what podcast. He'd get on any podcast, a cooking podcast, a podcast about podcasting, an author podcast, a home renovation podcast, anything. Any podcast that would take him. He just wanted to do 100. And I'm like, well, what value can you give spread over 100 different podcasts that connects with the audience specifically that listen to all of those different 100 podcasts and be relevant? And when I listen to him on other shows, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. You're just coming on and promoting the one thing, and it doesn't matter who's listening. You don't care. You just want to get on 100 shows. Admirable to get on 100 podcasts, but how about getting on 100 of the right podcasts for the right audience, not just any audience? It's like that person on the street when you go downtown and they just keep shoving pamphlets in your face, like to come to their diner or whatever. And you're like, just get out of my way, right? That's what it feels like. But it's in email form that comes to me for this show and my other shows. People just pushing themselves into your world. And then at times getting outright rude because you don't fall for it. You don't take the bait. They're like, don't you know who I am? And I'm like, yeah, I know exactly who you are, and that's why you're not coming on the show. When a podcast tour is basically somebody is trying to do a blitz of podcasts. They're trying to get on. And what I notice when I have had a person who's on a podcast tour, when I go listen to them, because you can like do it quickly on YouTube, for example, search up their name. You can search up their name on Spotify. You'll hear them on shows, and they just are basically reading from the same script every time. There's nothing unique. There's nothing different. There's nothing special specific to the audience that the guest is being on that show. They're just doing their thing. They're doing their little song and dance. And I don't want this show to sound like every other show. So there are people who gladly will take anybody on their podcast. You'll find these people in Facebook groups where they're like, oh my gosh, my guest just backed out. Now I need a guest for 9 p.m. tonight. Who could be on my show? Those are the people who are desperate. Those are the people who don't plan their content. Those are the people who don't reach out and find the right people for their show. There's no mention in these Facebook group posts about what the show's even about, just the fact that their guest didn't show. And that's sad. What is your show about? Is it mental health? Is it weight loss? Is it fitness? Is it spirituality? Like, you don't care. You'll just take any warm body who will show up. And that's the sad part. Those are the types of podcasts that people leave. The ones where people don't put attention into creating great content and having a calendar and understanding that you need to do some work on this. This is not just fly by the seat of your pants time. This is something that I think a lot of us need to consider. On my author podcast, I talk to authors all the time, and they say there's basically two types of authors. There's authors who are plotters. They plot out like the storyline and all the everything around the characters and the arc of the story. All that. They have a plot. They have an idea. And then there's pantsers. Pantsers just write and see what happens. And in podcasting, I'm seeing a lot of pantsers. They don't have any flipping clue what they're doing. They're just creating content and hoping for the best. If I throw as many darts as possible at the dartboard, I got to hit something. And I think we could use a little bit more plotting and a little less pantsing, right? We need to show up and we need to have a goal. And these pod tour guests, they have a very transactional relationship with your audience because they're just trying to check off a box. I've got to be on 20 podcasts because I need to launch this thing. And again, they're showing up for them as a guest. They're not showing up for your audience. They're showing up for themselves. I find, not in every case, but in a lot of cases, the guest cares nothing about the audience. They just care about getting onto a podcast. So those are the types of people that I ignore. I had somebody who wants to do turn your podcast into a book or into a movie or something. And I'm like, I have one person who wants to turn your podcast into a radio program. I'm like, well, radio's dying, so that sounds like a bad idea. So I'm saying no to these people. Again, it's my show. If those are the people you want, then again, you can do whatever you want in podcasting. Don't let me dissuade you from anything. But I just want to encourage you that at the end of the day, this is your show. And if you want to keep the amazing people who listen to your show, you need to be very careful about who you bring on. The person needs to have value. for your audience. And if they don't, then say no. Or if the interview didn't go the way you wanted it, then either reschedule, try again, or don't release it. You owe your audience more than you owe your guest, because your guest is here and then gone tomorrow. And side thing, most of these podcast tour guests, they don't share your episode because they're just trying to get on the next podcast. You're just a little notch, a notch on the headboard, if you know what I mean. And they just want to move on. And I encourage you to build something that's a long-lasting relationship. When I bring somebody on this show as a guest co-host, because this is not an interview podcast, when I bring a guest co-host on this show, I admire them. I admire what they're doing. And I admire that they're doing it differently than I do. And in that, I get to learn something. I get a new connection in podcasting. And I have somebody that comes on that can encourage you in a way that I can't. I can't do everything on this show. And when you listen to a podcast about podcasting and the host believes that they are the king, queen, superior in podcasting and they know everything, it's time to back away. Because they don't. They teach old principles from the past. They relive the glory days of podcasting when they started, but they have no idea what's happened recently. They have no idea. They don't even know about the tools, and they teach from their memory, not from experience. And that makes me nervous, super nervous as a podcaster. We need to be giving the best information. We need to be giving a community approach. And we need to only have the right guests on our show who serve our audience, who help people grow, and never tear down. And that's what the show's all about. So if this is your first time listening, so great to have you here. If you're a PR agent and you're listening to this podcast, I'm not interested in anybody that's doing a pod tour. This is not the show for them. I'm looking for somebody who's going to pour into this audience. I'm looking for somebody who cares about the person listening more than they care about the thing they're here to promote. That's my filter. And my question to you, for you as a podcaster, if you're just starting in 2026, what's your filter? What's the one that says, this is the right guest for me and this is the wrong guest for me? Because if you don't know that, you're going to have a lot of very hard conversations and a lot of tough decisions ahead. So make it early. Know exactly who your audience is, who you're trying to reach, who you're trying to support. And make sure you only bring people on who will help you meet that goal. It's your show. You are in complete control. And you're accountable to only one person. Really, not the guest. Not really you. You're accountable to the listener. That one person that decided to press play today on that episode you just released. You're accountable to them. Don't let them down by having guests on the show who care nothing about your audience. Don't care about you as a host. You're just a notch on the belt. So it's time to move towards better guests. Avoid people who are on a traveling circus of promotion and focus on the people who really matter, your listener. That's where we need to focus in 2026. If you need any help, reach out anytime. I'd love to help you. And if you're a podcaster or a soon-to-be podcaster, or you want to be a podcaster and you want to be on this show as a guest co-host, and as long as you're not on a podcast tour, reach out to me at howtopodcast.ca. There's a calendar link right on my website. You and I can get together, talk about having you on. Always looking to talk to amazing people like you. You're still here. So you're exactly who I want to talk to on this show. Don't have to have a podcast to be on this podcast as a guest co-host, but you need to be on the journey of creating something in podcasting. And I'd love to help you. And I'd love to help share your story and help you grow. So if you've been podcasting for 20 years or you've got an idea for a show, I'd love to talk to you on this podcast. Thanks for listening. Take care. Talk soon. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now. Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we, as a listener, like, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass? Shovel the snow? Watch your dog? Help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, A, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here. And it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website at howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show, tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon. Okay, you're still here? Great. Okay, this is a little bonus Q&A thing that I do at the end of the podcast. It's only for people who stick around. Everyone else is probably gone. It's just you and me. So this is good. So the question is a video podcast on YouTube different than an audio podcast on Audible or Spotify or Apple? Is there a difference between a video podcast and an audio podcast beyond the obvious that a video podcast has visuals? Can I just take one and put it on the other either way and be fine? And if it was me coaching you, I would probably say no. You take a video podcast and make an audio version, just strip out the audio and throw it on Spotify and Apple, it's not going to be the same. Because you're going to naturally, in a video context, make reference to things that are visual. A picture, thing behind you on the shelf, your hat, your clothes, something. Something that, oh, look at this thing on my desk. Did you see that? That was funny. It just fell over. That was so great. Nobody can see that in a visual when there's no visuals attached, right, in an audio format. So a video to audio, if you just do it the way it is and you just move it over, not a great experience. Audio to video, what works in audio doesn't always work in video. So a 2-minute intro with music and clips and this and that and, best of montage at the beginning of all your guests and laughing and all these things, that's hard to transfer into video because you just spent 2 minutes introing your podcast. And people on YouTube, they don't have a 2-minute temperament around intros. They just that's not what YouTube is. And if you have a story podcast that's in chapters and you have episodes in chapters, your podcast from an audio perspective into a video perspective requires you to make a movie for your book, for your story. So that doesn't work. So if you're going to do video, you need to have a video format in mind and a way of presenting your podcast in video that is native to YouTube. YouTube has certain things that they want, and if you don't match with what they want, you'll have struggle to get any footing on YouTube. You need to adjust to how YouTube does YouTube. You can't just take a video, slap it on YouTube, and be fine. It doesn't always translate. You can't take a video and slap it onto an audio platform with no editing. I record it live and let it hang and throw it out there. because every word I say is perfect. No, it's not. From a listener's perspective, I can tell a live recorded podcast on YouTube stream live that just flipped over to audio as a second class content. It's just, no. I don't care about my audio audience, so I'm just going to give them the leftovers. You can tell. Now, should you be on both? Yes, I think you should be on both. Can you take an audio podcast and put it on YouTube and leave it? Yep, you can. But if you want it to perform on YouTube, it needs to be formatted for YouTube, which means shorter intros, maybe drop the outro, shorter episodes, condense it, get rid of the chit chat, get rid of all the fluff, and just break it down. If you do a solo podcast and you have 4 main points, then you should chop up the video into 4 sections, 4 separate videos instead of 1 video with everything included. Break them down and make 4 videos out of 1. You'll do way better on YouTube breaking them down than you will having one massive thing that people will watch for like a few seconds and drop right off. YouTube is different than audio. Audio is different than YouTube. I think you should be on both, but you shouldn't just think that I can just take one and put it somewhere else. That's a terrible, terrible idea, because you're not going to get the results for your efforts. So if you want to talk through it and you want to get some ideas, reach out anytime. I'd love to talk to you. Take care.